It's also fucking futile.
If it's also fucking futile, what the fuck are you so fucking upset about, fuckhead?
This is Dick Valentine of the band Electric Six, and you're listening to the Big Ol' Wall of Films podcast.
Hey, do you want to watch a movie?
Yeah, I do. What movie?
The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing has its own special spot in the big old wall of films. The Reverend's big old wall of films.
Greetings and salutations, movie lovers, movie watchers. It is I, the Reverend Jess, and this is the Big Ol' Wall of Film, the one-man self-indulgent podcast from myself in which we go through the movies that I have taken my hard-earned money and purchased to own my own personal copy of. And we talk about if the movie's good, if the movie's worth your time, if the movie's enjoyable, or if it's not. Very simple premise. Very effective, and hopefully very enjoyable for you to listen. If you're new here, it's a very simple process. The first thing that we do, we go and we take a look at the new arrivals that have come in, the stuff that I've sat down after a long trip to the secondhand store or thrift store, or on the rare occasions, journeying online to Groove or Shout Factory or wherever the hell I may end up, and picking up something new and exciting. So let's take a look. It is time to go over the new arrivals.
Hey, guess what? I got some new movies going up on the wall today. This is what are the new arrivals on the Reverend's big old wall of films.
That's right, folks. It is the new arrivals. This is where we talk about everything new and exciting in the big old wall of films. And I've picked up some fun ones recently, and even though it's technically speaking not that recently, but this is stuff that I collected in the time between episodes. But I finally sat down and bit the big one because I found it for cheap enough that I was willing to pay for it, for Mystery Train from the Criterion Collection, the Jim Jarmusch film. I'm very excited to watch it. I'm a big fan of Jim Jarm and everything that he has done so far. I don't think I've ever sat down and watched a Jim Jarm that I didn't like. Even the more mundane of Jim Jarmusch, I've always had a special appreciation for it because I feel like he has a way to communicate interest in mundane activities. I mean, Stranger Than Paradise is a pretty boring concept of a film, but it's just so well executed in its monotonous tone and atmosphere. I think it's fantastic. I also really like Coffee and Cigarettes. Coffee and Cigarettes is probably my top three of his, I think, just because it's such a range of different scenes. And it's all dialogue driven, with the only theme being the coffee and the cigarettes. But fantastic. I really like it a lot. I also picked up Event Horizon on DVD. I cannot bring myself to buy a special holy shit version of this movie. Not because it's terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not really terrible. It's just, it is what it is. But I also can't, they're not going to show me anything new and exciting with a special edition because of the stupid thought process that they had for storing that film. So I finally sat down, and went through the effort of finding a DVD for it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to revisiting that one, even though it's going to be disappointing. But I'll tell you what, sometimes you just have to do that. Sometimes you have to sit down and revisit something even though you know it's going to disappoint you because it's either not as good as you remember. I feel like the nostalgia critic is like, that's his whole shtick, right? But yeah, I also picked up from Sloppy Second Sales, I got myself a copy of Barbarian, the Zach Cregger-honed picture. We talked about weapons on one of the previous episodes. And yeah, Barbarian is where he got started with that. And I got to be honest with you, I sat down, I watched it. I am thoroughly impressed with that film. The tone is all over the place, but in the best way possible. But that's enough for new arrivals today. Let's go in and let's take a look at one specific one. And I'll tell you what, folks, this one's going to be a personal one. So sit down and relax, because this one is going to be real. Let's go grab it.
Let me stumble over to the family room that's down the hall, grab myself a movie that sits on the movie wall. It's the movie we're discussing, so just sit right back and chill. It's the Reverend and his big old wall of films.
And folks, this one is going to be different. Why? Because I don't own it on Blu-ray or DVD. This one is one of the very few VHS that I own, specifically because it's the only version that was released as a proper release and not some Warner Archive burned to DVD type of vibe. This one is... This episode's going to get a little more candid than I usually do. I'm not just going to talk about the movie itself, but I'm also going to talk about my the profound effect that it had on me when I first saw it, and as I've continued to watch it throughout my years. And you may be thinking, wow, this must be something very profound. Is he going to talk about Boyhood from Richard Linklater? Close. It's close. It's going to be another Richard Linklater, that's for sure. But this is one that didn't get nearly the appreciation that I think it deserves. It is a film adaptation of a stage play written by one Eric Bogosian, who also did Talk Radio, which was adapted by Oliver Stone, which we will talk about at some point in the future. But we are talking about the 1996 amazing portrait of the Gen X nihilism. That is Suburbia. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, of all the movies to cover, why Suburbia? It's definitely not the most famous Richard Linklater ensemble piece from the 90s. It's definitely not a happy-go-lucky film, like something like Dazed and Confused. This is a different type of coming-of-age film. And it's kind of the anti-Dazed and Confused, and I think that's why I appreciate it so much, because I feel like Dazed and Confused is very much so a let the good times roll portrait of the 70s, things like that, where Suburbia is about the people that grew up as children of the people from Dazed and Confused. Now, it's not actually connected. There's no storyline going through for each of those, but I do feel like it's two sides of the same coin, and it works as a brilliant companion piece. And honestly, it's a better film. I think that mainly comes down to the writing of Eric Bogosian. Eric Bogosian has really managed to tap into a nihilistic sense of the world and what exactly the world is for its time. He did the same thing with Talk Radio, which, like I said, we will cover at some point in the future. But I do feel like the story itself is very relatable. If you've never seen the movie, which I'm guessing you haven't, because I don't think I've ever met another person that has seen it. So it's a very, very underground type of film. And the box office kind of proved that. This thing was not successful at the box office at all. The first time I watched it, I was lucky enough to catch it on at like 2 a.m. on one of HBO's channels. And it stuck with me quite a bit. The film tells the story of a group of 20-somethings that have to confront their own shortcomings and wasted potential when one of their high school friends comes back to town and he's a rock star. It follows our main character, Jeff.
Buff, that slice is the difference between life and death for some half-dead Bangladeshi.
Who is essentially going nowhere, still living in his parents' house, but he has established his own type of independence by living in a pop-up tent in the garage. And his days when it's not filled with a menial job packing boxes are usually filled with him going down to the local Circle A Mart and hanging out with his friends Tim and Buff.
Hey, you know what? Take off the blades. I mean it. I'm gonna break your fucking legs.
You're fascist, man. Neo-fascist.
Buff.
As they drink beer, eat pizza, talk about the state of the world, things like that. He's got a girlfriend named Suze who has dreams of being an artist.
You know, I was talking to Mr. Brooks yesterday. He has this friend in New York who wants to sublet his apartment for $650 a month. I could swing that. $650.
She has a friend named BB who is a recovering drug addict.
Rehab, outpatient. I have to go once a week. It's kind of like AA.
Oh, yeah, you had to go to Highgate. That must have been intense.
Intense.
How long were you in there?
90 days. But now I just have to go once a week. See, I'm rehabilitated.
And each one of them get to sit down and have the conversation with Pony, their friend who is now a rock star, and Pony's publicist, who tags along for the ride.
So, Pony, where are you staying? Are you staying at your mother's house?
No, that, that can be kind of a hassle. So, I just stay at the Four Seasons. It's easier.
Yeah, I stay at the Four Seas. It's easy.
And I think what I like about this film so much is the fact that over the span of one night, we kind of see everyone's life kind of change overnight in sometimes good ways, sometimes bad ways, but all the same, change inevitably comes for each of them. And I think that that's it's got a profound statement with it.
Yeah, fuck you, man.
I feel like, in my personal opinion, that a good portion of this film is spent learning about the characters and their trauma, for lack of a better word, that came from growing up with no ambition, growing up with no plan, I guess. And once you reach that point where you've graduated high school, which I feel like it's kind of explored with Tim's character, you are supposed to have the rest of your life kind of figured out when you graduate. Like either you're going to college or, in Tim's case, going into the military. And, you kind of follow that and you kind of figure it out. You figure out where you're going to head. And I feel like, especially now, it's really hard to plan because you don't know where the world is heading. You don't know where you're going to end up. And I'll tell you what, a lot of fucking times, things don't match up to exactly how you wanted them to be or how you thought they were going to be. We have a prime example, and I think the reason that this movie speaks to me so much is because of my personal experience. If you would have asked me when I was 18 and I had just gotten freshly sober what I was going to be, I was going to be a creative writing teacher. I wanted to be a creative writing teacher. And then I did 1 year of college, and I hated it. I hated it so fucking much. I hated being there. I hated going to the classes. I spent my entire first year of college completely disregarding college because I hated it so much. I was miserable. I was depressed. I was away from home. I didn't want to be there. And it was a really bad fucking experience for your first year of sobriety, where you were surrounded by people getting drunk, getting high, and essentially just temptations all over the place. And unfortunately, that's kind of where we end up. We kind of end up in the situations where we know what the path is supposed to be, but when the path doesn't work for you, what are you supposed to do? And yeah, where am I now? I'm a 33-year-old office worker, sitting in his office, talking into a microphone for no one to listen to it. Realistically, I would have never dreamed of being where I was at. I would have never dreamed of, oh, my career is going to be this, or my hobby is going to be this, or this, that, and the other. And I feel like when Jeff has his conversation with BB, it really does kind of put it into perspective, where he finally has that realization, and it's too late. It's too late because his girlfriend has already moved on to someone who does have the ambition. And, of course, you could make the sexist statement that she's only going for money. But, hey, what can you do? People are going to be sexist. That's just a fact. And they're scum, but it is what it is. Realistically, Jeff doesn't have ambition, and he only gets ambition after being under pressure to find ambition. And I feel like that's the tough thing, right? Because like people always want to be better. People want to be better people. Very rarely, especially miserable people, and people that are bitter, people that wish that their life panned out in a better way than what they have. So I do feel like that sense of uncertainty and that sense of hopelessness is very, very relatable in the right circumstances. And I've found myself in those circumstances many times in my adult life, many times in my teenage years. And I feel like that's why this film speaks to me so much. I feel like every single time I have that moment of the world's not supposed to be like this, all I can think about is things from this movie, just because it's so goddamn relatable. But enough about me and my personal struggles. Let's talk about the good in this film. The performances, hands fucking down. All of the performances in this film are pure gold. Giovanni Ribisi, even though he's a Scientologist, knocks it out of the park here. Nicky Katt knocks it out of the fucking park here. Parker Posey knocks it out of the park. AJ Naidoo fucking knocks it out of the park. Literally every single person in this film puts in a good performance. Steve Zahn knocks it out of the park. I'm telling you, if you watch this movie, you will see some of the best, most realistic performances you will see in your fucking life. Nothing is over the top. Everything makes sense for the scene. And here's the thing. The kids aren't as smart as they think they are. Jeff is basically talking out of his ass for a good portion of the film and just bitching. That's what he does. That's his character. He's bitching about things. He thinks that the world is terrible and doesn't want to do anything about it because all he can do is talk about how much it sucks instead of changing it. And that's fucking relatable too, honestly. And I feel like that self-awareness, that understanding that, like, yes, the world is shit and there is nothing you can fucking do to change it. I feel like that is such a realistic take in so many cases, and so real. As far as the bad of the film, there's not much, in my opinion. I don't understand why this film was a bomb at the box office. The only thing that I can think of is that the tone was completely off in the trailer. The trailer makes it seem like it's more of that dazed and confused fun stuff. They play off the joke where Tim says, oh, didn't you see that video on MTV? And Tim says, I shot my TV. That's not played for laughs. That's played awkwardly as shit in the fucking movie. And yet in the trailer, it's, supposed to be a joke. I think that's the problem. The tone, they didn't get it. And it didn't register to them that, no, this isn't a fun, happy-go-lucky, oh, look at us slackers hanging out outside of the Circle A. That's not the film whatsoever. We're hanging out on the fucking corner watching the lights change because that's all we can do. Because that's all that the world prepared us for, and that's all that we have to offer. And it sucks. Everything sucks in this film. And it should. It should. Because honestly, being in your early 20s with no idea of what the fuck you're going to do with your life, yeah, fucking sucks. I can't imagine what I could have accomplished had I had that plan, had I been able to prepare, had I not fucked up so much shit in my early 20s, you know? But here we are, and here we are picking up the pieces, and that's what we're doing. That's what we'll always be doing, day after day, movie after movie, minute after minute. That is what we're doing. As far as the other things that can be enjoyable in this film, the soundtrack. If you like 90s alternative rock, it is here for you. We got a lot of Sonic Youth in this soundtrack here. You got some Skinny Puppy, you got plenty of other stuff. It's really, really good stuff here. And I feel like if you are a fan of the 90s alternative scene, you could pick up the soundtrack and just have a gay old time with it. It is fantastic. I do feel like, personally, some of the tracks kind of melt into another. And I feel like that's just because there's so much Sonic Youth on this album. But I do feel like it fits the tone. Specifically the sequence with the Skinny Puppy song just fucking hits. I think at the end of the day, if it was up to me, I would already have a Criterion release of this. But unfortunately, the closest we've gotten is that the Criterion channel has put it on for streaming every once in a while, which was nice because it was the first time I was able to see it in like full HD. But let me tell you, I think, me personally, I think that this film, I think Richard Linklater regrets making it because he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't talk about it. There's been no love for it, the same way that he's given love to like Dazed and Confused and School of Rock and all that jazz. And it's unfortunate because I feel like this might be his best work, in my opinion, which I feel like you may disagree with me. I think you're fucking wrong, but you may disagree with me. And if you do, feel free to message me and tell me why. Tell me why School of Rock is his greatest film, or Dazed and Confused, or fucking Boyhood, whatever. Tell me why this isn't the greatest Richard Linklater film. And granted, I'm biased. I have plenty of experience with this film. But in case you're wondering, yes, it's a fucking 5 out of 5, 100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. For the longest time, it was the only VHS tape I had because I wasn't going to get rid of it, because it was the only way I could watch it. As far as the ways that you can see it, there is a made-to-order version from Warner Archive. Unfortunately, it's pretty fucking cheap. It doesn't even have subs on it, so just be prepared for that. And you can find it online randomly. I know for a fact that there's at least a VHS rip on YouTube that you can watch it. Now, I know we're not supposed to support piracy, but fuck you. Put out a proper DVD or a Blu-ray release. Put out a Criterion Blu-ray release of this, and I'll buy it. But until then, fuck you. If I want to watch it completely without having to go through the effort of getting the VCR to work, then yes, fuck you. I'll watch it on YouTube for free. And I'll tell you what, folks, you should too. I don't think there is any better way to spend 2 hours of your time than watching Suburbia from 1996, directed by Richard Linklater, written by Eric Bogosian. Please sit down and watch it. Please take the time and just sort of take it in and give your thoughts on it. Share it with people. I think more people need to see this film. And yeah, if it was up to me, if I had a burner, I'd be making copies and just giving them out for free because it's that fucking good. But here we are. So, if you have seen the film, what did you think about it? Do you have an opinion on it? Do you find it relatable? Do you find them insufferable? I've found some reviews that talk about how insufferable the characters are. And yeah, I can't say I disagree with you, but I also feel like we've all been that insufferable at some point in our lives. Maybe we're being that insufferable right now. Maybe me doing this podcast is my own version of sitting behind the convenience store. Maybe it's me that is sitting there hoping that one day I can get on the comp list for my buddy's rock concert. Maybe. Maybe, just maybe. But until next time, folks, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Big Old Wall of Films. Your homework assignment for this week is to watch Suburbia, either for the first time or watching it again and sharing it with someone new. And, if you want to follow me on the socials, don't. But if you must, RevJess_FatLolsRadio on Instagram. But for now, keep watching movies, keep collecting them, and all in all, Suburbia is just another film in the wall. I'll see you next week.
Join us here next week on Reverend's Big Old Wall of Films. The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing. The film we're discussing has its own special spot in the big old wall of film. The Reverend's Big Old Wall of Film.
The Reverend's Big Old Wall of Films is brought to you by Fat Lol's Radio and sponsored by Counting Worm Shop and the Rev Just Movie Drop Project.
This has been a Fat Lol's Radio production. To hear more shows like this, go to soundcloud.com/FatLolsRadio.
I need salvation. Fuck!
Pony, if we wanted to hear you sing, we would have gone to your concert.